Everyone, it's Yvonne here to do What's Cracking reading. Thank you so much for all your support and your beautiful comments. Every day I go in and read, and um, I'm really quite overwhelmed with things at the moment in regards to the work I do. Um, so today we are going to do What's Cracking reading, and the weekly reading will be for Scorpio. We're going to use the Celestial Tarot for your reading this morning, and I'll have a bit of a change for next week, I think. Okay, so let's just run through a few things. Please be careful of scammers. It was pretty good this morning. Actually, I didn't have to remove very much at all, but I'm still getting a lot of people on the back of people's readings offering you free readings. Please be careful. Contact me directly at theaussiegoddess@gmail.com, all one word, if you're unsure of whether it's a scammer or not. And if you do want a reading, that particular email, theaussiegoddess@gmail.com, is the email I use for readings, and it's the only way you can contact me in terms of emailing, because my website's not open at the moment. All right. I do now offer memberships. So if you're interested in learning the tarot with me, you can consider taking a membership on my page. I think the join button is under my picture. Membership button is under the stream of things under the picture on my YouTube. I'm sort of teaching it exactly the same as I would have done a class, but doing a little bit couple of times a week rather than a 5 or 6 hour session. Okay, I'm really not sure. I still feel like I've missed something. But anyway, we'll get into the reading. If I think about it, I'll raise it. Okay. All right, so we have the King of Pentacles coming straight out. This is a card that represents the masculine element of the earth signs. So Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. Sometimes it can represent for me, a partner or a significant other. It doesn't necessarily have to be male or female. The cards aren't particularly male or female. They talk about the energies. So a female can come up as a King of Pentacles if she's more in a masculine energy. So you'd be looking at, for example, someone who was really focused on their career, really focused on their income, that type of thing. If you were a single parent raising children, you might come up in more of the King of Pentacles energy. So you sort of have to leave that up to your feeling. But in this particular regard, and I'm pretty sure I'm feeling the energy right, I feel like we have the card of Virgo behind that, so you definitely could be dealing with a Virgo here. But this feels romantic. It feels like a love reading, so I'm going to sort of move towards that energy a little bit. So we have somebody coming up who looks like a Virgo person. Whoever this is a person you could meet through your job or through your work. Now, I laugh at this often because I've done this in personal readings before. So, you know, we're not always 100% accurate with our readings, but I've said to people, you're going to meet this person through work. And I used to say that a lot when I felt that sort of energy. But the thing is, sometimes you can meet somebody in your lunch hour. You can meet somebody when you're out work with your friends from work, or you can meet somebody who doesn't necessarily work with you but is in your workplace. So I'm very open to that. So just to give you a couple of examples, one person hired somebody to do something at home, and it came up for me as a work situation, but I guess it was because they were working for them. Somebody else, if I remember rightly, was selling a house, and the person came to sell the house. So when we say work, it sometimes can be a little bit more obscure than that, so be a little bit open-minded. And we do have the Hermit card coming through here. Oh, look, with the Lovers. Is it going to do the same as yesterday? It is too. You know, yesterday I did a reading and I just got 7 major arcana off the bat, which is really, really unusual. Okay, so we have somebody here who's coming up as a Virgo. Now, we do have the Lovers card here, and we do have the Sun behind that. So I feel like this is definitely a new relationship. We also have the Star coming through, the 5 of Pentacles with the Moon card. So there's another major arcana. Definitely this person is unexpected. you do not know this person already. So whatever this is, for me, this feels like brand new romance. It feels like somebody stepping into your life, more than likely at a time when you're very comfortable with who you are and you're not necessarily looking at romance. You know, sometimes people say to me I've got a couple of people, that's all they want is to have somebody in their life. And I keep saying to them, it's going to be really hard for you to meet the right person if all you're focused on is someone else. I guess the way I would explain that to people is when your energy is always focused on another person, even if you don't know who they are, you're not focusing on your own needs, which means that you're lower vibrating. So the way I've found most people meet people is by really focusing on their own needs. So just ignoring the fact that you want to have somebody in your life and just go out and do that degree, go out and do that work, whatever it is for you. But if you're always focused on the loneliness and you're always focused on the need for something more, then you are going to manifest more of that. You know, every now and again people say to me, but I've met someone new, I only just broke up from my relationship, and then before you know it, they've got another toxic relationship in their lap. So it's very important that we understand who we are and our own needs before we go looking for somebody else to add to what we have already. I think that the best place you can be in is in that place where it would be lovely to have somebody in my life, but you know what, I'm good on my own. So it's not like you're saying you don't want anybody, it's you saying I'm whole and complete as I am. And then you tend to bring in the person that vibrates with where you are at that time. So, you know, some people say to me, oh, I've been single for 6 months, and I think I've known people who've been single for years before they meet someone. So anyway, I feel like this particular person that's coming in is unexpected. You may be to that point in your life where you're like, you know what, I can just get by myself. I'm happy with who I am. And I'm so busy, I don't even know I'd have time for somebody else in my life. If you're to that point, I feel like somebody is about to walk around the corner for you. Now, it could be somebody who comes up as a work connection. I feel like perhaps this person is maybe taking time out themselves from something they've gone through. So um, they could have moved into a new area. They may be starting with you at work because they've just transferred. But it feels to me like with that sort of hermit energy there, this person is getting through something themselves. It could be that, you know, they've had sort of disaster or something in their own family and they're working through that. I don't feel like it's a broken relationship, although it could be. But this person is sort of, to me, I just have a vague feeling I might have felt this the other day too when I was doing a reading. Sometimes the energy feels like it's just a coincidence, or you know, you may be, say for example, in another department where you never go and then you bump into someone, but it definitely feels work related. All right, let's get through this. All right, so we have the Prince of Pentacles coming through with the Two of Wands. There it is, the Ten of Cups. How beautiful. And the Strength card. Again, I want to reiterate, when I see the Strength card, I always think that you've been doing a lot of building on yourself. I've been reading up a lot the last few days. I'm supposed to be doing other stuff, and I've been reading up on, you know, childhood trauma. I found a really good person on the website, and I think when I see all that, I think I want to do more work around that, but I never seem to get to that point because I run out of time. So there's a real need for a lot of people who've found that they've become quite spiritual for them to do healing. I'm not saying everybody does, but my experience is most people who end up in this sector need to heal something from their childhood trauma, rejection, abandonment. It may manifest in ways that you don't relate it back to your childhood, such as emotional dysregulation, procrastination, fear in relationships, attachment disorder. All of those things come from forming less than appropriate bonds as a child, or not being loved as a child, or being neglected. Um, and I feel like sometimes when I'm reading, there is this energy of perhaps you have just been either doing work on yourself or you're currently doing work on yourself, but there's perhaps been a period of time that you've been single because you've understood through your relationships you've been cycling a pattern. It's not unlike myself, it's not unlike many people I deal with, work with, coach, whatever. Um, we repeat patterns, and sometimes it takes us, we're a little bit slow on the uptake, and sometimes it may take us several patterns or several cycles before we go, hang on a moment, something is wrong here that I need to pay attention to. And I think that sometimes we do. Sometimes we might sort of read up on it, look up on it, but we don't really do what's required of understanding. Um, so I feel like here I'm talking to someone who perhaps has done a lot of work. I feel like whoever you are, you're quite comfortable. That Ten of Cups strength card says to me, you've got it together. Like you're to a place where you are feeling really good about yourself. You may have resolved a lot of your own issues around your confidence or your self-esteem. Um, I feel that you're ready with that Two of Wands to take a new pathway, and an offer is coming that will allow you to move into a new direction. It's really nice energy, but somehow I feel like maybe you're still, or maybe you've reached that point, which I remember reaching when you sort of think it would be nice to have somebody in my life, but I'm still not sure I'm ready. So that I didn't want to repeat the pattern after I'd done it. So many times and just kept pulling in narcissist after narcissist after narcissist, and I think I didn't want to do that again. I needed to understand, why was this happening, why was it happening to me? I don't want to do it again. I don't want to get down the road again and find I've just poured in the same person with a different face. So it was really important to me to make sure that I had cleared that energy. I would leave it for a while. I would date a couple of times. I would see those red flags again, and I would say, you know what, see you later. I'm not putting up with it. So I never, I never accepted that whole, oh, well, I'll just ignore that. I'm sure everything's okay. I didn't ignore it. Once I got to that point, I was very, very picky. And I used to say to people, I don't date, I interview, because I was always thinking, you know, is this person right for me? Am I just falling into the same trap again? And many, many times I saw it and I just went, you know what? I went through phases of just not dating for a year, just so I could watch what I was doing and learn why I was doing what I did. And, you know, people say things like, it's your neediness, you need to have a partner. And I kept saying, I don't need to have a partner. It's not because of that. I'm doing something else. I'm doing something to make myself attractive to these people. So, you know, you learn your boundaries, you understand who you are at a deeper level, you know what the red flags are, you can see manipulation, you can see gaslighting. And once you get to that point, then it probably is a little safer to at least go out there and see whether people are that way. So, anyway, so I feel like whoever I'm speaking to, you've done some work here. Six of Cups, definitely childhood trauma. We have the Five of Wands coming through, and that's the inner conflict with the Queen of Wands. If I'm talking to you and you certainly relate to this reading, I do feel that you are ready. Absolutely, with that Queen of Wands there. I think that maybe you think you're not quite ready, which is a good thing because it means you're on your front foot. If you're fully grounded and you stay fully grounded while you're dating someone, be the observer, watch what's going on, and understand that some people may not show those. It's okay to challenge them too, which I found quite a lot of fun. But I just I just remember this one date I had, and the guy was really, really good to talk to on the phone. He was fun. He was very interesting, but I realized later he was talking always about himself. He wasn't interested in me. But I went out for one date with him, and he did. He carried on talking about himself, and I tried to engage in the conversation to get it going both ways, but he kept going back to himself. Um, that's all. sometimes that's all people know is themselves. They're not interested in who you are. But the thing was that really got the red flag for me was he took food off my plate on a first date when I hardly knew him. And to me, that was really intrusive. Breaking of boundaries was really hideous. And he said to me at the end, I pretty much finished up the dinner and went to walk out the door, and he said, "Oh, I've really enjoyed myself. I'd like to see you again." And I was like, "Not really. It just wasn't my date at all. Sorry, not interested." And I walked off. And it was things like that that really got me understanding how people can be so disrespectful of your boundaries. And when I've said that to people, people have said to me, "What was wrong with that?" Oh my goodness, are your boundaries that poor too, that you would allow someone to come into your space without your permission? Then there's a problem. That's what we cycle, those sort of things. So if you're in a partnership with somebody and you've been together for a really long time, or it's one of your children, maybe you can accept that boundary being sort of broken a little bit. But on a first date, when you don't know somebody, to me that was really pushing. Can I do this? If I can do this, then maybe I can do more. So yeah, so but I feel like here, sorry, I feel like you need to know this. But I feel like here you are showing up as ready. I feel like you're ready, but I'm not sure whether spirit is saying you're ready to sort of get out there and really understand how to do these things. Like I feel that I was ready, but I wasn't ready for a relationship. I wanted to test the waters. I wanted to see if I was still, pulling in people who had no respect for me. So that may be where you're at, or it may be that you are ready for a relationship. All right, so we have the Four of Wands, which definitely means something is building here. We have the Tower here, which has come through a lot, and the Seven of Cups. Don't be so focused on the outcomes. Don't be focused on the future. It's okay to ask someone, are you ready? Are you dating because you want to have fun with people, or are you dating because you want a relationship? I can tell you now, most people will be honest with you on that question. And I think it's okay to ask that right from the get-go to find out what your person's about. But if you're already looking at someone on the first date to see whether they are marriage material and that is your focus, I would say to you, drop that idea. Just see if they're the right person for you first. Because sometimes we can get caught up in that fantasy, and narcissists especially are fabulous at creating that sort of energy. They pretend to be you. So whatever you do, whatever you show them, they will manifest it for themselves so they can pretend to be you. You fall in love with yourself. So if you say, "Oh, I love movies, I love going to the pictures all the time, I'm totally fascinated with movies," and they go, "Oh, so am I. I'm exactly the same," and you think you've won over Prince Charming. So please remember that too. Very, very good. Arm yourself. There is nothing more powerful than a knowledgeable empath. So I feel like here it is about focusing on not so much the stability, the marriage, the commitment. This is about changing the way you think about things. This Tower is here to say to me that perhaps there are things that you believe or you think about. We all want to be rescued by the knight on the white horse. It's a fairy tale. So here we are with this Tower, which tells me there is a breaking down of an old way of doing things and a complete change. And I think you've achieved that. All right, so we have a King of Pentacles. So there's definitely somebody coming in. I feel like we could be talking about a Virgo here, but don't hold that too close to your chest. Your person may still be in a place of healing themselves. We do have the Lovers, which sort of shows me that your person is ready to move down a new pathway. We have the Sun and the Star here, which is absolutely beautiful. And then behind that, I think I have the Moon card. Okay, so to me, this is take it easy, watch what you're doing, be the observer, understand that if you've been pulling in narcissistic people, there's a good chance that you're going to do it again if you don't have really strong boundaries. All right. Let's read your Wisdom of the Hidden Realms card. We're going to have a complete change of cards for next week. So, oh, no, 2 there, I only want 1. The Diamond Dreamer, material wealth and true prosperity. Card 6. When the Diamond Dreamer arrives, he represents a successful manifestation of the unseen into the material. I feel like here it says here, be sure you truly want what you think you desire, for this ally will commit to getting it for you. So I definitely feel like you've manifested something for your heart's desire. If you desire a more harmonious relationship, the measures needed to create this will be obvious. So I'm really feeling that's why that card's come out. You've manifested what you want, but be sure it's what you want before you go any further with it. And it's not wrong to date somebody for a while. Be really cautious with those boundaries. Don't give people too much information, because if you're dealing with someone who's manipulative, they'll use that information against you. But remember, some people are just out to make you fall in love with them, so that when they do turn, you don't see it quite so easily, because you are swept up in the love land. All right, thank you.